there and welcome back to another video. If you're new here, welcome. My name is Rini and I share DIY home decor videos here on my channel. So for today's video, I'm gonna be sharing few fall decor ideas with you, and before you dive in, I'd love if you subscribe and click the bell icon to get notified every single time I upload a new video on my channel. So without further ado, let's hop right into the DIYs. I took these foam balls as a base for the pumpkins. I got this from a dollar store. You can also get them from any craft store. Then I grabbed my box cutter and sliced off about ½ inch on both the opposite ends to make them flat, so it looks like a pumpkin. If you take a larger foam ball, then you can slice off a bit more than I did. The foam balls I used had about 3 inches diameter. And then I trimmed the edges a bit to make them rounded. This is totally optional, you can skip this step if you want. This way I continued cutting the foam balls. Then I took a straw sturdy enough to perforate the foam balls and I pierced the center of the ball. You can also use a bamboo skewer or a metal straw. I grabbed these yarns in these beautiful colors and I also took a large yarn needle and threaded the yarn through it. Then I pushed the needle through the center of the ball and pulled the yarn. I was kind of eyeballing how much yarn I needed to cover the foam ball. We don't need to have an exact estimate for that, and we also don't want the yarn to be too long as it could easily get tangled. Once I had a rough estimate, I snipped it off and tied a double knot to secure it. Then I hid the knot like so. After that, I started to wrap the yarn around the ball and I also made sure there are no gaps between the loops. I ended up needing way more yarn to wrap the ball than I envisioned, so when I reached the end, I tucked it into the center. And then I started with a fresh piece of yarn and continued wrapping till the entire ball was wrapped with yarn. Once I was done, I tied a knot at the bottom of our pumpkin to secure it. After that, I grabbed this dowel to use it as stem of the pumpkins and I marked 4 pieces 3 centimeters each and cut them with a handsaw. Then I attached it to the pumpkin with hot glue. I held it for a few seconds till the glue cooled down. I grabbed a piece of jute twine and started wrapping it around the base of the dowel. I wrapped it multiple times because we want the base of the stem to be thicker than the top. This way I continued wrapping all the way up. Once I reached the tip of the stem, I applied hot glue and covered it with twine. Then I grabbed another foam ball and repeated the same process. I used this pretty gray yarn to wrap the ball. I had this green jute twine in my stash which I got from Dollar Tree and I started to wrap it around the stem. I felt the green twine was going really well with the gray yarn. Then I grabbed another foam ball and decided to wrap it with this mustard yellow yarn. I recommend going for chunky yarn for this DIY. The mustard yarn I went for was slightly thinner than the other ones and it comparatively took me longer to wrap the foam ball with it. And even for this one, I went for the green jute twine. I love how pretty this is looking. The pop of green is totally complementing the mustard yellow. Then I moved on to the last piece and wrapped it with this brown yarn. I figured the best way to wrap it was to work in small sections. Once I reached the end, I tied a double knot at the bottom with the help of the needle. And this time I wrapped the stem with this neutral jute twine. So this is how our yarn pumpkins turned out. I think they'll look adorable on your coffee table in this fall season, and I am so happy how cute they turned out. For the next DIY, I took these tumbling tower blocks. I got them from the dollar store and they come in a pack of 36 wooden blocks. The pattern I went for was 3 vertical blocks adjacent to a group of 3 horizontal blocks, and then again 3 horizontal blocks adjacent to 3 vertical blocks. You can also arrange them the other way around. We just have to make sure the group of 3 blocks are different from the adjacent group. Now to assemble the pieces, I used this wood glue. You can even use super glue for this. I applied the glue to the sides of the pieces, spread it evenly and attached them together. I also smoothed out the extra glue with my finger. This way I continued building up the pattern, and I used a polythene underneath to prevent the glue from sticking to the surface. Once I was done with all the 3 coasters, I allowed them to dry for at least an hour. After they dried up, I took my sanding sponge and sanded down the extra glue. I went on Pinterest to look for some fall color palette inspo, and I started building a fall color palette by mixing my acrylic colors. I built a color palette comprising of 6 colors: a grayish blue, terracotta, dark brown, mustard, green, and a reddish brown. I added some water to the paint to make it runny because I wanted the wood texture to show through the paint. The coaster is made up of 4 squares. Each square consists of 3 wooden blocks, so I used 3 different colors for each coaster. First, I started with the terracotta color to paint 1 block on each section. So in total, I painted 4 blocks with the same color. Then I started with this grayish blue paint and repeated the same process. We also want to paint the sides as well. And lastly, I painted the remaining 4 blocks mustard yellow. I repeated the same for the other coasters, and this time I went for the reddish brown, mustard yellow, and terracotta color. And for the last coaster, I decided to go for the dark brown, green, and terracotta paint. I was not a fan of this green, so I went over with the sage green color to lighten it a bit. And I think it ended up looking better. I also added a little bit of mustard to warm up the terracotta paint. After the paint dried up, I took a cork sheet which will protect the surface from any scratches and cut it to size of the coaster with a box cutter. Then I attached the sheet to the coaster with some wood glue. And finally, I grabbed my polyurethane varnish in satin finish and applied a thin layer on the coasters, which will add a nice shine to them. This is how our fall themed coasters ended up looking. I love the fact that they are so easy to make and are also very inexpensive. So that was all for today, and I really hope you liked the DIYs, and if you did, please let me know in the comment section below which one was your favorite. I think the pumpkins and the coasters turned out so adorable, and I'm so happy about that. I'm also super excited about the upcoming holidays, and I do have some video ideas for you guys, so please stay tuned for that. You can also follow me on Instagram at DustyHills. Thanks for watching, and I'll be seeing you guys in my next one.